Escape into the colorful world of Kim Tadio. Build community one rock at a time with Coach Bree Hassel. And catch a performance from Novus Cantus. It's all ahead on this episode of AHA, A House for Art.
Funding for AHA has been provided by your contribution and by contributions to the WMHT Venture Fund. Contributors include the Leo Cox Beach Philanthropic Foundation, Chet and Karen Alpelka, Robert and Doris Fisher-Melisardi, and the Robeson Family Foundation.
At M&T Bank, we understand that the vitality of our communities is crucial to our continued success. That's why we take an active role in our community. M&T Bank is pleased to support WMHT programming that highlights the arts, and we invite you to do the same.
Hi, I'm Matt Rogowitz, and this is AHA, A House for Arts, a place for all things creative. Today we're heading to the Bohr Sculpture Studio at UAlbany to meet up with artist Kim Tadio, who creates dreamy works of art that often reveal hidden layers. Take a look.
I am an artist, a musician, and a leader in the community. I'm really into dreaming up just wonder for the world and trying to share that with everyone. My work is very colorful and very whimsical. I'm really interested in creating sort of the imagined spaces of like where all hearts are connected. I know that sounds like really sort of maybe out there, but I sort of love this idea of like finding belonging in art. And so they are imagined spaces. So whether they are these bright, colorful sort of blocks of color, or they are reimagined nature spaces, I sort of kind of combine all of it. The artifact of that ends up being this often bright, bold, colorful world. I sort of have an empty canvas and I just kind of paint. And I might start off with something like a limited palette or a mood that I'm trying to convey, or maybe I'm having many moods. I'm never really sure where it's going to take me, but I just get canvas going. I just say that I want to move the hand and just sort of start. And then often in that time, I will pause and I'll sort of see little things kind of come together and work off a moment in a piece and then try to like enhance that. I really want people to have this feeling of wanting to dive into the work. And so I try to kind of see where I'm wanting to dive into it myself first. I grew up in Iowa, in a small town called Dysart, Iowa. It was a square mile. I was adopted, so I'm adopted from Korea, but I was an orphan, so I don't actually have any idea of anything. I grew up around a lot of trees and nature, and I think just being immersed in nature, like art was around me because I would see art in nature all the time. A lot of the work has like a blacklight responsive paint, which is really just a paint that is sort of neon, and when you turn a black light on it, it really glows and shines. But to me, that became this like metaphor because I'm always thinking of the ways which all beings are interconnected. And so that became this sort of like hidden layer, this like hidden reminder for all beings to feel like they belong. The Snail Mail Art Collab is a project that I started in the pandemic. I wanted to connect with people and sort of create an experience where we would have a piece of art that we worked on individually, but then collectively in a group. And it also explored the idea of impermanence because you started with something and it completely would change by the time it would come back. Everyone started with a piece of paper and creating anything they wanted. You mailed it to the next person, and that person would then add to the piece. The only rule was that there had to be one element of the original. So if there was an entire piece of paper blue, you want to keep one tiny piece of paper blue if you wanted to paint the whole thing yellow. And I actually have artists literally all around the world doing it. I have 3 tracks of artists, and it's been challenging. There was a post office in the Philippines that literally exploded. Someone sent me something that said, I have to quit because we lost all the work because the post office exploded. And I was like, I can't make this up. This is a real thing. And so it was a very challenging thing to it's a challenging thing to sort of lead, but I'm not actually creating any art in that. I'm mostly facilitating other artists, but we eventually hope to have a in-person show with the artists from all around the world coming to the Capital Region to potentially show off this piece. I feel so excited that I have created a network of people that have all stayed in touch with each other through social media, through this artwork, and there's new friendships and connections that are happening, and so that's exciting. I run a project called Friends of Tivoli Lake Preserve and Farm. We use a flock of sheep to manage vegetation in a nature preserve. Working with animals and being on the land has been such a beautiful experience because I'm literally tending to both the plants and the animals and sort of watching that relationship. And to me, I think a lot about cycles, like life cycles, sort of life, death, who knows what happens. I experienced loss at a young age, and because I was an orphan, there's a lot of unknown mystery to me. And so for me, when I'm in nature, I witness those cycles all the time, whether it's literally the sun and the moon coming or the seasons, and we always see cycles happening. And where I used to really be afraid and have a lot of sadness around the loss of change, I have really come to embrace change and all of those cycles that are constantly around us and kind of leaning into that unknown space. I don't know everything, and that's completely okay. That's sort of the human experience, is just being here and being curious. Being in nature and witnessing that has just been such a gift, and then tying it to my art, that's just sort of my visual way of playing with these ideas that I'm curious about.
The Albany Rock Project is a creative initiative that was founded as a community rock hunt program, using hand-painted rocks to engage and inspire Albany youth. Jade Warwick spoke with the Albany Rock Project's founder, Coach Bree Hassel, to learn how it all started and to see what's next for the organization.
Welcome, Bree.
Hi.
It's nice to have you on the House for Arts today.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Love
so
that
much.
you're all decked out in your gear so people know.
Gotta let them know what the brand is. Have to let them know.
Right. Well, speaking of that, let's talk about the Albany Rock Project. So I know the Albany Rock Project is a creative program and initiative you started, but I would love the audience to know what is the inspiration and how it came to be.
That's a long story, but long story short, I was an educator before I was an artist, before I was officially an artist entrepreneur I am today. And the pandemic happened, and I lost my job at that time. And that meant that I was an educator of 850 students to 0 because of the pandemic shutdown. And I became very concerned about solving the problem of students not being able to play enough. This was in the time of basketball hoops the rims being pulled off of the backboards. This is the time of the netting of the basketball hoops being tied together as an institutional response of, you can't play here. And that was the first time in my life I had ever seen something like that. And because of that, I wanted to create something that was accessible, colorful, and fun.
Beautiful.
Yes.
That's how the Albany Rock Project
The Albany
was
Rock
born.
Project was born October of 2020.
So give us a little bit of background. What is the project?
In short, I say that I paint rocks and I hide them throughout the city. I start the rock drops in Black and brown neighborhoods, but the location of these rocks change all the time. And so, in short, I wanted to be able to serve BIPOC communities and to also be able to give them opportunity to play more, an opportunity to just take a pause and enjoy the moment.
Yeah. Now, why rocks?
Again, back to the accessibility part, everybody knows what a rock is, right? We could walk outside right now and understand what a rock is. And I think I wanted to use something that didn't have to be explained too much as a medium. And I think rocks already are underestimated. So I think it's helpful to use something like that and to beautify it and to help people re-understand what beauty could be.
That is true. And you're like, it's from nature, can come in and beautify, your community.
Yes,
By your own word.
really travel friendly too.
That is true.
And so
To a
like you
point.
could, the rock that you see here won't be there again because it's been transported somewhere else and leaving an impact somewhere else.
Now, quick question.
Sure.
Have you ever painted like a boulder? Or is it all
I
small?
want to, but nobody will let me yet. And so I don't know if that's because it's a boulder or if it's because, we just need a little bit more planning around how to transport this big entity.
Yeah, not as accessible with that one.
Right, yeah.
So I know you invite a lot of artists into this project.
Yes.
So what are some unique opportunities that artists that you hire, what do they gain? What do they get? What does that look like?
That's so interesting. Thank you for asking that. For me, I wanted to include artists in the local community a little bit more in the Albany Rock Project by providing an opportunity for them to develop themselves artistically. What does that mean? What does that look like? I offer them an opportunity to paint a rock collection, and that's usually 8 to 12 rocks of different sizes and different textures. And I challenge them to use this medium to express their motifs, their artistic style, and things of that nature. Typically, I also pay them for their time, for any time that we meet, and I also pay them for the work that's implemented. What do they gain from this? I think they gain career readiness. I think they increase their artistic skill with these rocks because they're not perfectly smooth either. And I think that they increase their ability to advocate for themselves.
Sounds like the full package. You're getting funding, you're getting workforce development, and life enrichment all in one package, right?
Yeah, I've had artists come back to me after I've asked for some feedback around how I could make it better. And I've had artists say, honestly, it was just a great time. I haven't had the opportunity to just sit and to enjoy something that I'm creating in a while. And so I like to offer that to them too.
That's a beautiful thing. So as someone, let's pretend, you're talking to someone, they've never heard of the Albany Rock Project, they're walking into your program or they're walking into an event.
Yes.
What does it look like for a first-time person stepping into this project? What would they expect?
Well, they would expect to have some warmth when they come in, to receive warmth from me specifically. I love to laugh. I'm very open. You could already feel it on me. I just love to have a good time, and I love to build community. And what does it mean to build community? It means to be inviting so that people can come and make that choice for themselves. And so warm, welcoming. I like to be flexible. There are a lot of people who are very uncomfortable with art. And because of that, they just walk away before they even try. And so I like to use all of those things together to create the space for people to become more vulnerable with themselves, to do the art.
Yeah.
I know that people immediately say, oh, I'm not good at art, or art's not my thing. Insert what other things people tell themselves. But I like to create the environment so people can put that down.
Yeah, so it's just this is a free creative space. You can start as simple as you want, or as complicated as you want.
Right.
And you should feel safe doing whatever.
Whatever that is, exactly.
Because it's about expression and community at the end of the day, right?
Right.
That's awesome. So what are do you have any community stories or any impact you've seen? How are folks reacting to this? Because this has been going on for a little bit. So how has been the feedback or the community reactions? I know you work with kids all the way up to the adults, so
it's a wide range of ages that I cover, and I think I like it that way. I don't think it's just a kid thing. I think adults also can be transformed by this work too. I've seen it on a micro level. I have gone out and hidden the rocks myself because that's what has to be done in order for people to go find them. They have to be hidden. And I was being followed by a group of 6 children who noticed that I was hiding
The rocks.
And I became so caught up in the fact that I was being followed that I missed out on what they were experiencing.
Yeah.
They had a lot of joy, but they kept their distance. They were watching me, but they weren't right behind me. But I noticed I was being followed and I was being watched in Swinburne Park, actually, uptown. And so that's the passive impact, because I wasn't even speaking to them directly. But the direct impact is people asking me if they can have a rock that they see on my table. I give 1 free rock away that I've done at every event. Because there's always one person that says, can they have a rock that I'm not selling? And I have to say, I give it every time.
Yeah.
Because that's what it's for. It's for that one moment, for that spark inside of someone that says, I want that. Can I have it?
Yeah.
And that's a vulnerable thing to do, right? We're all vulnerable human beings. And because of that, I think art is one of those avenues that helps us to get there.
Oh yeah, yeah. Speaking to the choir here, definitely 100%.
Yeah, you know.
So, what is coming up for the Albany Rock Project? Do you have any events coming up, or anything that you want people to make sure they're paying attention to, or can connect with?
For sure. Here's a couple of things. So in terms of Albany Rock Project content, I think people should look forward to seeing some of my top 5 videos. When I do festivals, I invite people to paint any kind of things on rocks, anything that they want, and including the theme of the festival. And so recently we did Tacos for Life, which was this past Saturday, right, with Ben Williams. And I encourage people to paint tacos on these rocks and things of that nature. And I picked the top 5 rocks that I thought were impressive. They didn't all have tacos on them, the ones that I picked. But I said, there's some investment in some of these. So content-wise, you should be seeing more variety of rocks done by myself and other artists, but also everyday people. And also more events. You'll just see more, Albany Rock Project will just have more of a presence in Albany. I think we're there, but I think this year we're really gonna
always
get there.
Grow bigger.
Grow even bigger. And I hope that, honestly, we go bigger than just Albany in New York State.
Oh, I can't wait to see it. Well,
I'm really excited.
me too. Well, thank you, Bree, for joining us today and telling us all about this beautiful project and initiative you're doing in the upstate area.
Please welcome Novus Cantus.
As you gaze upon me now, I didn't always look this way. I had legs, oh so many. I was green and oh so round, and I crawled on my belly upon the forest floor, and I fed on the green leaves. And I walked in the cool of the night, and I walked in the cool of the night. Then one day nature called me and said it's time to fly, and I felt an urge within me to make a place of rest. So I climbed to the treetop and made myself a bed. Then I closed my eyes, and I slept in the cool of the night, and I slept in the cool of the night. And I slept in the cool of the night, and I slept in the cool of the night. As I woke from my slumber in the peace of my cocoon, I stretched toward the heavens, revealing beautiful wings, and I flew toward the moonlight as high as I could go, and I spread out my wings, and I flew in the cool of the night, and I flew in the cool of the night. And I flew in the cool of the night, and I flew in the cool of the night, and I flew in the cool of the night, and I flew in the cool of the night, and I flew in the cool of the night. I flew in the cool of the night, and I flew in the cool of the night.
Thanks for joining us. For more arts, visit wmht.org/aha and be sure to connect with us on social. I'm Matt Rogowitz. Thanks for watching.
Funding for AHA has been provided by your contribution and by contributions to the WMHT Venture Fund. Contributors include the Leo Cox Beach Philanthropic Foundation, Chet and Karen Alpelka, Robert and Doris Fisher Melisardi, and the Robeson Family Foundation.
At M&T Bank, we understand that the vitality of our communities is crucial to our continued success. That's why we take an active role in our community. M&T Bank is pleased to support WMHT programming that highlights the arts, and we invite you to do the same.